Don't swat at me. You come with me. Right around behind. It's the fast movements that excite the bees to sting you. He goes for any of the moving parts of you. Now that's why you're apt to get stung in the eye by blinking your eye. That's why you find the bee is quicker than you are. And if you're walking through a bee yard, it's a matter of the casualness with which you will walk through. It's just a matter of the way you handle them.
The Beekeepers, Norman and Clark Dyment of Smithville, Ontario. The Dyment brothers handled 1,100 hives in 42 bee yards in 4 counties, and in a good year harvest over 200,000 pounds of honey. 2 men whose rare blend of inventiveness and craftsmanship, plus a unique ability to work together, has made them masters of an art and a science that's learned in but one way, from a lifetime's work.
Once a beekeeper, always a beekeeper. There must be something. When spring comes, I know everyone who has ever had any bees, he's just waiting for the time when those bees will fly out and bring back a little nectar.
One of these hives at the height of the season will have probably 75,000 bees. And each bee, of course, all bees don't gather honey at the same time. There are nurse bees and wax builders and guards. But every bee carries about half its own weight in nectar. And the nectar is about from 70 to 90% water content. So you can see how much weight a bee has to carry to have it finally reduced to a pound of honey.
Well, this yard this year has produced what we consider a fairly good crop. There's 25 hives in the yard, and we believe that it will average about close to 150 pounds per colony.
We have great respect for their ability to cooperate together. They can't talk, as we all know, and yet each bee in the hive has a certain job to do, and there's no shirking like with humans. 75,000 bees in the hive, and every bee knows what he's going to do and does it willingly. And that's the reason they're so successful honey gatherers.
Boys, we're ready to go. How do you think you'd like to be beekeepers, eh?
No, I don't know. I
don't
don't want
know?
to get stuck on.
How old are you?
9.
9? I wasn't too much older when I started. Well, let's go, boys.
Can we leave these on?
Yeah, you can leave them on.
Thanks. Come on.
Jump in.
Though the boys may not exactly appreciate it now, right after their brush with the bees, there's a lot about the bee business to recommend it. For one thing, it's a two-way street. The farmer wants pollination for his alfalfa seed, and the Dyment brothers want honey from the alfalfa bloom. Their bees provide both at the same time. The brothers got their start a good many years ago by visiting a commercial beekeeper. Their father bought them a couple of hives. They were fascinated, and they gradually expanded to where they are today.
And we've still liked it ever since, and we're still together, Dyment brothers. And that's a long time ago. We'll enjoy it very much.
That'll be close to 45 years.
Close to 45 years.
You can say that.
In fact, that's the only thing that we know much about. We've been in the business, you might say, ever since we were kids, and I wouldn't know what to do if we had to quit the bees.
Well, thanks very much, Mr. Dyment, and the boys are home for supper. Now that they know they're welcome, they'll likely be back.
Such a variety of work connected with it. You're not doing the same thing every day like working in a factory or something. You're getting out in the country, different spots in the bush, all over, all summer, and out in the fresh air.
I think there's something about a person that, if he is a thinking person, that he can't resist those things if he's that way inclined.
This boy is Michael. He's here to help out later on. Everything in this extracting house works for the Dyment brothers and is of their own design and craftsmanship. And their work pattern is almost as orderly and efficient as the bees themselves.
Well, the main thing, of course, is to save our backs. We're getting older all the time, and we find that we can't do near the work we could 20 years ago. So we find it necessary to have a few aids. We used to unload them all by hand and pile them up, and our supers weigh from 100 to 110 pounds when they're full, and that's got a little too much for us at our age.
As far as the production of the machines are concerned, I give my brother here a great deal of credit for getting the ideas.
Norm has more patience with the detailed work than I have, and it works in pretty good.
Well, honey has a lot of uses other than that for food value. It is just as good as any salve or disinfectant.
We put them in this warming room, which is thermostatically controlled for heat, and we leave them in there all night. And in the morning, they're in wonderful shape to start uncapping and extracting.
Clark lives half-mile down the street in Smithville. In their private lives, Norman is a bit more active in community affairs and in their industry, while Clark concerns himself with their own plant. Norman, for instance, is past president of the Canadian Beekeepers Association, and he's a director of the Ontario Honey Producers Cooperative, where they market most of their honey.
Pretty busy this week.
Yes, and we have been too. Pretty busy week.
He and his wife look after the bookkeeping for the Dyment brothers' business. It must be a swarm. Yeah, that's what it is. It must be the Dyments. You stay and watch it. I'll go tell them.
One of the most remarkable things in this bee business is to put in the hive full sheets of foundation which are man-stamped, and see the bees draw the walls out on them, fill them with honey, cap them over, and make beautiful sealed white combs of honey out of them. That's a transformation that I don't think can be equaled anyplace. But you want to keep on seeing year after year.
We had some very bad ones, the middle 40s and the middle 50s. 56, I believe it was. And we fed the bees throughout the whole summer. And we went behind many thousands of dollars that year. But then come back in 57, and we've had fairly good crops ever since. You have to have hope and faith, and if you don't, why, you shouldn't be in the business.
Once the cappings have been cut off, the honey is spun out of the combs in the extractor. First they run it in one direction, then they reverse it to get the honey out of both sides of the comb.
We both have our own work. We know when we go to work, why we don't have to discuss who does one thing and who does another thing.
We could work all day long and not even speak.
This steam-heated vibrating blade slices through wax cappings like a hot knife through butter. It's the result of last winter's work, and like everything else around here, it's practical and efficient.
But now this job that Michael has been doing, taking the combs out of the extractor today, can be done by almost any boy, or I might say that our wives sometimes take turns in taking them out. It does save an extra hand, and they enjoy it.
A beekeeper builds his reputation not on quantity, but on quality, and the Dyment brothers keep a constant check.
We got a little metal lathe and a welder, and we just sort of play around with it in the wintertime. A few months in the winter we have no bee work much to do, and it's sort of a hobby.
Honey grades have very exacting moisture requirements, and color is an important factor. Alfalfa honey is among the finest, white, or better still, water white. From this basement have come many labor-saving devices to save lifting in the bee yards and to speed up operations in the honey house. Some, like this rig, have no formal name, just a practical function.
Oh, well, I think working together as a team when you get the system worked out properly is the only way to do it. Two men can do much more than twice as much as one man can do it.
We seem to have the work divided so evenly that we're both busy all the time.
They invented this can dolly, too, which moves 300 pounds of honey with ease. A hand lever lowers the cans, and a foot pedal releases them. Two men can load a 7-ton truck in 20 minutes with these dollies. Though their work pattern and flawless timing make short work of filling these small cans, the Dyments discourage retail business. They feel they haven't time for anything but wholesale. Their honey is sold under the Beekiss label, where their product is in great demand. But haven't we forgotten something? The swarm.
Uncle Clark, there's been a swarm down near the river where we're fishing.
Oh, where is it, John?
It's down south.
Down the river?
South Road?
Yeah,
Very big swarm?
yeah, about that big.
Well, I guess we better go right out and get it, eh, John?
We got to go up there anyway.
Yeah, well, let's go. We look upon swarming as a nuisance, but it's unavoidable. Every beekeeper has considerable swarming at a certain season of the year.
Well, to the boys who discovered the swarm and told us about it, it was quite an event in their life. I suppose they hadn't been used to seeing swarms and a lot of bees clustered together. With us, when we see one, we know that probably the hive has become overcrowded, partly our own fault and partly not. There are some people who are very allergic to the effects of bee stings. In fact, my son has had a terrible time. We had hoped that it would follow down with the family, but under the circumstances, it doesn't look as though there's any possibility of that. They look very well. I think that everything should be all right. This looks very well. I think everything is okay.
Thomas Carlyle must have had men like Clark and Norman Dyment in mind when he wrote, "Blessed is the man who has found his work. Let him ask no other blessedness."